I call this meeting of the Alvin Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present. This meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. We'll have the invocation and pledge allegiance by Trustee Tonini. Please stand.
Our Father in heaven, we gather this evening with gratitude to Thee for this beautiful weather and for the beautiful buildings that we have to learn in and to meet in. We pray for Thy blessings to be with the students and the staff of Alvin ISD. We pray that Thou will bless each of them with happiness, with safety, and with health. We pray that Thou will bless those who stand in need of Thy help and Thy comfort. And we ask for Thy help in choosing the correct path with the decisions that we make. We are grateful to serve and pray that we do so in a manner that's pleasing unto Thee. And these things we ask and pray humbly and in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, we're going to move into the superintendent's report right now.
Okay, thank you, board. We're going to do a change-up tonight. Get it? Baseball change-up. It's a pitch. So we wanted to do our superintendent's report early on because by the time we get to the end of the meeting, our attendance has dwindled some because you have to go home and do your homework and study and do all of that. So we want our students to see what great things are going on across the district as well. So we celebrated our second annual The Day this year on September the 14th, and we had all of our Alvin ISD students and staff and community members participating in the day. Thousands of our students and employees completed over 200 service projects throughout the district, and these are just a few of them. If you saw or were on Twitter or any of the social media, you saw many of the projects that were going on, and we had media coverage this year, and we were so thankful because so often we focus on all of the negative versus all of the positives that are going on, and we just wanted to showcase our students and our staff and giving back to the communities that we serve. On Sunday, we had a wonderful dedication for Bell Sanchez Elementary School out in the Sterling Lakes community. A special dedication was held, and many of our community members, students, retired staff, and other staff members gathered at the new campus to dedicate one of our new elementary schools. Alvin ISD Police Department participated in the National Coffee with a Cop Day. Alvin ISD police officers enjoyed time at Starbucks, and you can see Sergeant, I think it's Stark there, serving coffee out the drive-through window. The mission of Coffee with a Cop is to break down barriers between police officers and the citizens they serve by allowing the opportunity to ask questions and voice concerns. And I believe Trustee Pickren is up there in one of the pictures, and she participated as well with our police officers. We were so excited on Monday morning. We were able to celebrate our Alvin ISD Believes Award. This was a conception last year that was a conception of our district design team, and it's what Alvin has in mind when we implemented it is that it aligns with our core beliefs, and it's a district-wide initiative that's implemented each 9 weeks, and staff members can nominate other staff members, and they write a little synopsis of why they're recommending that person for the Alvin Beliefs Award. And on Monday, October 7th, this past Monday, Alvin ISD administrators and our board members surprised 36 of our Alvin ISD employees by going to either their department or their school, and some of you students may have seen some of us on campus, and some of your administrators or teachers got awards, or some of our other staff members, our custodial staff, bus drivers, police officers across the district, occupational therapists. You can see all of the ones. There's a variety of staff members that receive this award, and these employees go above and beyond, showing that they align with our core beliefs in the district. So congratulations to all of them. Our Alvin High School high schools have been celebrating their homecomings. We had Manville, who celebrated theirs first, and then last week was Shadow Creek High School, and then this week on Thursday night, Alvin High School is celebrating, so we had the parade yesterday for them. Then we have our second newest school, which is Nelson Elementary, and the dedication for that will be on Sunday, October the 20th at 2 p.m., and you're all invited. And then finally, October is National Principals Month, so thank a principal. This is a tough position to be in. It's one of the most meaningful positions that an employee will hold because they do work with our communities, parents, and students on a daily basis, and our staff. So thank your principals for the great job and the leadership that they provide on the campus. I think that's it. Thank you.
Next, we'll go into the introduction of the greeters and commendations.
Hello. So, if you came in the door at any time, you know you were greeted with a welcome to the school board. So today, our greeters are from Wilder Elementary. They're the Wilder Elementary News Crew, and if you're sitting out there, come on up, News Crew, wave your hand. Get up here and wave your hand. If you notice, they're the news crew because they have their press passes on, right? The Wilder News Crew consists of 5th grade students from Wilder Elementary that meet weekly and work on monthly features and different stories to appear on the Wilder website. Miss Gwen, is Miss Gwen here? Wilder librarian, wanted the students to have a voice for the Wilder community while also keeping writing as one of the main focuses of this year. And we have, when I call your name, wave your hand, okay? Teresa Joseph, Janelle D'Souza, to make it, Rainier, Baru Bala, Jethro Gonzalez, okay, I'm gonna try to get it right, I even asked you before, Arnav Ahuja, Alejandra Andre, Allison Salcedo, and Jasmine Burgess. All right, well, thank y'all so much for being our greeters tonight. All right, thank you. Next, we have Alice Sloan and Nelva Urich. Alvin ISD won the Keep Texas Beautiful Youth Education Award for an educational institution for the day. Alvin ISD was honored during the KTB conference in June. Alice Sloan and Nelva Urich would like to present the district with their award. Oh, yes, sure. Yes, if somebody would like to come.
Keep Alvin Beautiful was really honored to be able to nominate the Alvin Independent School District for this award. We're so proud of the day, and that is a wonderful project, and I would like to see it go statewide. And we had a lot of people talking about it at the conference and letting us, well, they let us know. We didn't get to go to the conference, but a lot of people are excited about it. In fact, we're planning on nominating them for a Keep America Award. So that will be in Tennessee in February. So we're excited, and the school district should be too, because that's a wonderful thing to think of to do, because it helps so many people. So Keep Alvin Beautiful, we're very proud of the work that y'all are doing.
Thank y'all very much for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all need to make sure you go to Tennessee when we get that one for America. Thank you. Next, that brings us to our student accommodations. The Fairview Junior High Band was named a national winner in the 2019 Mark of Excellence National Wind Band Honors Project. They are winners in both Class A and in the new music division. The Mark of Excellence is a national music competition that recognizes music programs and their ensembles for high standards in performance. The Foundation for Music Education sponsors this project. Ensembles are judged by nationally representatives, with the top quarter being named as national winners and the second quarter being named as commended winners. The project received 320 entries in all classifications this year and has had entries from 38 states. The Fairview Junior High Band's performance was said to represent the very highest level of music teaching, learning, and performance. So great job. We have some people here, some students here from the band. Sienna Helton. Abby Patak. Lucas Nance. Lucas Neitz. Alexis Sanchez. And we have their band directors, Jeremy Kitchens and Rebecca Cabrito. Aaron, y'all can come in the middle if you want. Congratulations. All right, next we have our National Merit Scholarship. After taking the PSAT exam in the fall of 2018, one Alvin ISD student has been named a National Merit semifinalist and is moving on in the scholarship competition. 13 students have been named National Merit Commended Students, and 2 have received the National Hispanic Recognition. So our National Merit semifinalist is Rowan Ostrawicki. Is Rowan here? Well, he deserves a hand clapping. He's from Shadow Creek. The National Merit Commended is Kari Alexis Bing from Manville High School, and I don't think she could be here tonight. But once again, we also have Alexander Cessna from Shadow Creek. Devea Sharian from Shadow Creek. Sajin Dial. They must all be studying. Amy Dongchu. Terrence Ellis. Melinda He. Jen Lau Icho. Landy Cho, right? Landy Cho. Carson Parker. Christopher Pham. Elizabeth Wren. Nikita Singh. Prashna Nagula. All right. Well, congratulations. Thanks for showing up. Takes a lot of work, doesn't it, guys? A lot of work. Congratulations.
He plays sports. He's built.
And then our National Hispanic Recognition, Kevin Gonzalez Leal from Manville High School, Jaden Massey from Manville High School, and Isabel Cordova from Shadow Creek. Next, that brings us to our staff commendations. And if anyone has watched any news show, local or national, in the last month, this name will ring a bell to you. This is Esther McCool. And Esther, if you'd come on up, and I want to read some things about you. I think Esther has her friend here with her, too. So Esther McCool is a compassionate, humble custodian who goes above and beyond for others. Not only does she keep Passmore sparkling clean, but she also cares for our staff and students. She truly exemplifies the capturing kids' hearts philosophy. There are so many examples showing what a kind person Esther is. Most recently and most known is when she stopped to help one of our ASD students when she was having a rough day in the cafeteria. Esther went up on stage and got on the floor and comforted Kinley when she needed a little extra care. This is not unusual for Esther. She does things like this all the time. She is always jumping in to help in so many more ways than just cleaning and keeping our school beautiful. She really goes out of her way to let our students know they are cared about. Esther, we can't thank you enough for what you do for our school and for our district, and not just Kinley, but all the rest of our students and staff. Thank you so much. Next goes to Carla Newsom. Come on up, Carla. I know you love to be center of attention.
Hey, I like her shirt.
Congrats to Coach Carla Newsom to being named a recipient of the Under Armour Women of Will Hall of Fame. Coach Newsom was one of the 4 inductees out of the entire nation. This award is given to the athletic director slash coaches that have made a huge impact in female sports during their career. Congratulations. At the U.S. Green Building Council Texas Energy Summit, that's a very long title, Alvin ISD was recognized and received the award for Outstanding Sustainable K-12 School District in the state of Texas. In Alvin ISD, since 2010, the annual district electricity cost has been reduced from $1.42 per square foot down to 82 cents per square foot. This equates to a savings for Alvin ISD of approximately $2.4 million annually. Positive impacts include saving from greenhouse and gas emissions equivalent to 4,171 car emissions, which is actually 2.2 million gallons of gas, or the equivalent power to operate 2,107 homes annually. Additionally, since 2010, Alvin ISD has received from the energy company performance incentives rebates totaling $485,082 for district energy saving efforts. And so if any of these people would like to come to my house and help me out with my electricity bill, it would be great. Ethan Ravy, if you would come up. He is our energy manager. Matt DeVoe, director of maintenance. And Bill Van Wagner, director of building programs. Thank you, guys. And that's it for our commendations tonight.
Thank you. Next, we'll have a presentation by Templeton Demographics.
Good evening. Pleasure to be here. I'm Rocky Gardner with Templeton Demographics. I've been in front of the board a couple times. I'm not sure I feel overdressed, so. I don't know if I should take my jacket off or something, but I am rooting for the Astros, so even though I'm coming from the Ranger territory, we're pulling for the Stros. This is our fall report. So this report's been put together, gathered from research that our team's been working on over the first couple months of the school year. We try to turn around as quick as we can. It seems like as soon as school starts, you guys want to know what next year's going to look like, right? So we want to do the best we can to do that. So this is our fall update. Keep in mind, we'll also update in the spring as well, as we kind of see how the housing tracks and move forward. Should I push this arrow? No, I think it's still the green thing there. Well, there you go. Okay, I almost poked someone's eye out with that green laser, I'm sorry. We start out here just, and the report's a little bit different, so I know that you've seen these before, so you can't just fall asleep, I guess, on this one, because it's a little different. This first chart just talks about what your historical enrollment growth. Once again, Alvin ISD added over 1,000 students, in the year. Our forecast, we go October to October, so it's a little bit early. So we know that your number when the October snapshot date hits is going to be even higher than this. But again, consecutive years of over 1,000 students, new growth. If we look at where some of that growth is, you had a really strong kindergarten cohort this year. Kindergarten growth was really high. And we saw, I think our forecast, you guys came in about 25 students over our forecast right now. Probably by the time October hits, I think your live will end up probably about 100 students over the forecast. We kind of like to be on that side of it. We'd rather be a little bit low than a little bit over. I think that's easier for playing as well. The continued housing growth that's driving all of us. We just have to drive around and see the housing growth that's going on. Economic conditions in Houston are very strong. We're adding about almost 80,000 jobs a year in Houston annually. It's about 2.5%. The nation's growing about 1.5%, so considerably faster than national growth. Low unemployment rates. When you see unemployment rates well below 4% now, so continued low unemployment rates. And then we're adding about 29,000 homes each year in the Houston area. So strong growth is going on. There's always discussion of when the hiccup's going to happen, when starts may slow down, but right now it's not happening in Alvin ISD. Right now, Alvin's their annual starts are up to 1,400 homes. So that's starts, that's a new home start. A closing's at 1,330. A closing, keep in mind, is an occupied home. And then you've got vacant developed lots, or VDL. That's 2,406 vacant developed lots. What that means is there's 2,400 lots that you could build on today. They're ready for everything they could turn tomorrow. And then over 18,000, almost 19,000 future lots. This is stuff that we know about. Some of it's in active subdivisions now, and some of it they haven't even started yet. But again, that you've got 20,000 lots that are basically ready to go in Alvin ISD. So I don't see a break happening anytime real soon. This next chart actually kind of emphasizes some of that. This shows your quarterly trends. You see there in the second quarter, 442 new home starts in Alvin. I don't know if you look back there, you're not going to see another 400 within those quarters. So this is one of your highest quarterly starts ever. And closings kept pace, which is pretty amazing, with 401 closings. So again, very strong pace right now. The third quarter we're about to get third quarter data. September just ended, so we're collecting third quarter data now. But my suspicions are that you're going to have a very strong third quarter as well. I think just the inventory's there. If we go to this next slide, you can see there that column I could point out the most on this slide. Two things. Where you see color is where you see the most activity. So you see there that Meridiana, Pomona, Sanchez, no surprises, that's where most of the activity is in the district. And again, that column where it says inventory, 842 homes in inventory. Those are homes, that's a combination of homes that are under construction and homes that are already finished but vacant. So we know that that's like your next 6 months, just to give you an idea. So you think about what we're doing now, the pace that we're talking about, we could see pace in Alvin going, we showed 1,400 starts in that previous slide. We think going forward that you could push up to maybe 1,600 starts. We've got roughly 2,400 lots, again, available to be built on right now. This chart shows those, just kind of the colors you see there. The green colors are where you see active development. The yellow is where we know there's going to be future development. And you see some red lines on there, and the red lines is where we're talking about where new lots are being developed. So it's kind of like where the 18,000 joins the 2,400. They're developing those lots right now in Alvin ISD, and there's 770 of those. This next chart's a little bit new. This is where we're kind of reaching out and trying to share with you what our research team is seeing on the ground, the movement that they're seeing, and where we think your housing could go. So we think your housing could peak right around 1,600 homes a year. You know, you're probably going to, at some point, we're going to see an absorption flattening begin to happen. I think the product that's being built in Alvin, the infrastructure that's being improved is becoming very attractive. So we think you could still see a couple more years get to that 1,600 number. And certainly with 400 starts the last couple quarters, you could, 4 times 4 is 16. So you could see how we could get to 1,600 pretty quick there in Alvin. Now, where some of that growth is going to occur, our team has gone through now, and where you see color on this page is where we see the most activity happening during the next 5 years. So you can see that that's that 5-year window of where we see growth. The darker the color on there, the more intense housing. The lighter the color, not so intense. So again, in the same areas where we know that strong growth is, the Meridianas, the Pomonas continue to see really strong growth within Alvin ISD. And if we summarize that by campus, this is kind of a good way to think of it, I think. The blue part of this chart is where is the existing homes. How many existing homes are in each one of those? Then where you see the gray is where we're going to see growth. So again, you see a long gray bar in Pomona for the growth that's going to happen in Pomona. Then you see a few of these that have very little or no gray, and that's because there's just no activity there. There's always going to be some infill, but for the most part, this is where our 5-year, the 5-year appears to be in Alvin ISD. And then yields, of course, we forecast based on what we expect the housing yields to be, and the yield, remember, is the number of students per home. So when you see that single-family yield of 0.6, basically that's like getting 6 students for every 10 homes that are built. Simple way to remember it, okay? Multifamily yields pretty high, about 0.3. That's a really pretty high yield for multifamily, and then manufactured homes always yield close to 1 student per home. So that tends to be the trend. You can see there in Alvin that 4 years ago your single family yield was at 0.57. It's now at 0.6. It's probably going to top out right around 0.6. We don't see it climb too much higher than that. Now you've got some developments that right now are yielding closer to 0.7. So keep in mind we're talking overall yield in the district. But if you look on this slide here, the dark red colors there are some areas that are yielding a 0.7 yield. That's usually not sustainable, but that's where we're seeing some of that fast growth in some of these areas, and we're going to continue to see that as this housing's built. So that's what this next chart is. These are active subdivisions with at least 50 homes. So it's not every home, so we would have, the bubbles, we would have filled it up with color, but we just wanted to hit the highest ones there and give you an idea of where that distribution was at. And again, this is district multifamily yield. So this is 2 things. The larger the dot, that means the higher the yield, okay? And this includes manufactured homes as well within this group here. We've got 3,680 students that are in 8,700 multifamily units in Alvin ISD. And the average multifamily yield is 0.42. You begin to see some different numbers there because we pull out the manufactured housing for some stuff, and then we put it back in for this chart here. So that's why that overall yield is 0.4. It's combined both the manufactured housing and the multifamily housing. And this is a new chart, I believe. I'm not sure if you've seen this before. We call it newcomer and leaver analysis. We've had the pleasure to be in Alvin ISD for so many years now that we can track students based on their student ID. So what we'll do is we'll look from 1 year to the next to see if that student ID is still in the district. If that student ID is no longer in the district, then we call those leavers. Now, we don't include 12th graders as leavers because they're supposed to leave. And we don't include kindergarten students as newcomers because they're supposed to be coming. So really, it's the difference between those 2 grades. It sometimes surprises people to think that there might be 2,400 students that actually left the district. And that just sounds like a big number. But in an area the size of Houston, there's so much movement going on. So, so we see that positive influx. We've got over 480 students, the difference between newcomers and leavers. So it's been very steady. It's been right in that 400 to 600 number. So it's a very standard, and that deviation is have you not seen it? If you haven't not seen it before, it's a very normal deviation that we see there. So with that, I'm going to show you our first look at your fall forecast. The reason I say is the first look is because when we get the enrollments, the snapshot date, we'll clean it up a little bit, but you won't see a very little change in this. We're expecting, again, continued growth of over 1,000 students in Alvin ISD. I don't know that your kindergarten's going to jump that much every year, so that's why it's going to kind of stabilize a little bit. Kindergarten might be the hardest grade level for us to forecast. It's just one of those that's challenging. We study birth rates. We look at who's coming and who's going. We try to track that as best as possible. The other thing that we're going to look at as we go into the spring is to begin forecasting pre-K. Historically, Templeton demographics, we have chosen not to forecast pre-K just because it's such an unstable thing to forecast. Districts have a lot of control over that because they need to. But with HB 3, the House Bill 3 changes, a lot of our clients are asking us to kind of take another look at that to try to take a stab at forecasting pre-K. So we're trying to develop a methodology for that now too. Again, but we think the district could be at 35,000 students within about 8 years, averaging over 1,000 students a year. It does appear to be slowing down in the latter half of this forecast. And that's a combination of just yields beginning to kind of come down in some areas as those homes, as they mature. And there'll probably be a little bit of a hiccup. You're going to hit 35,000 students. It's whether it happens in year 7 or year 9. That's kind of the window there. And of course, 36,400 students by the end of this 10-year forecast. This next chart just kind of gives you an overview by high school zone. I just want to show this before we moved into the individual campuses. You can see there that Shadow Creek still, even though it's dense up there, you might think of that zone as being very dense. There's still over 3,000 future homes to be built in that Shadow Creek, the current high school zone. Manville High School's got 12,000 future units, and Alvin still has about 3,000, just in one area, just about, but over 3,000 future units as well that can be built. So strong growth in all 3 current high school zones. We look at our campuses by attendance level. Now again, this shows the red that you see on this chart is where the enrollment exceeds the capacities that's with portables, and the yellow is just the maximum capacity. So you begin to see where we begin to see some stress at the elementary level. When your elementary is adding over almost 300 students per year, you can see where every 2 or 3 years there's a need for an elementary school in a fast growth district. So strong growth at elementary. I think your elementary is going to be sitting on that 16,000 number before too long. And finally, we look at the junior highs. We know that we're going to be opening a junior high in a little over a year. So obviously you see the red on that chart. It shows that we certainly have that coming. And then of course your high schools, the strength of high school as well. I know that there's a high school opening in 2022. So strong growth there, each of your campuses of high school as well. So finally, just some key takeaways. We think you're going to continue to experience growth just due to the strong local economy, the attractiveness of the district, infrastructure. We think you'll add nearly 1,500 new homes a year for the next 5 years. Majority of the new residential activity over the next 5 years will take place in the Pomona zone, the current Pomona elementary zone. Single family yields have continued to increase. We think that'll eventually top out, in that 0.6 around there. And we think you'll exceed high school building capacity by next fall, and junior high building capacity will be kind of pushing itself to very soon. So I think those new campuses are going to be much needed. We look forward to working with the district any way we can to help with the boundary process and whatever else that we can do. So that was kind of quick, I know, but I'm happy to. Don't want to keep you guys from baseball again.
Does anybody have any questions?
I do have a couple questions. In regards to economic conditions, are there any areas of concern or any things that you're looking at that might affect things or shake things up at all?
Well, I mean, talk about Houston overall. I mean, there's the starts. The overall starts of housing have begun to kind of peak, where we haven't seen those continue to accelerate. Alvin's price point right now has kind of not, it's been a little bit different. It's been different than the norm. So we're seeing most of our slowdown in that really high price point homes. And so I think that's going to keep Alvin very attractive. I think that's why we saw those accelerated start rates that we saw this quarter, and I'm guessing the third quarter will be very similar.
Okay.
2020 is going to be interesting. I think, everything you're reading says that, they're 2020, 2021, put our, economist hat on, recession could be imminent. They say they used to, when I was in school, it'd be like, there's a recession around every 7 years, but we're sitting on close to 10 now. So a hiccup is inevitable. We just don't know how big it'll be, but we do think right now some of the lower price point, the more affordable price points are kind of, because there's definitely a housing shortage still. So there's still challenges. It's just making it affordable. That's a challenge for everyone.
And then historically, how much does enrollment fluctuate between first and second semester, like Christmas time move-ins? Do you have that information?
I couldn't tell you exactly what that is. I know Alvin ISD is like many other where you do see growth throughout the years, throughout the year. Many districts that doesn't happen. It kind of slows down a little bit. I think because of the timing of getting homes built. I don't really have that exact number for it. Somebody on staff might be able to tell you how that changes.
But we're pretty consistent throughout the year with growth.
You have historically been.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much for putting this together. I mean, y'all are so spot on. We really don't get surprised every year. It's just amazing how much we're growing, though.
Great to work here, too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Okay, next we'll go into consent agenda item. Does anybody want to pull any of those?
Do we have any open forum?
Oh, okay. I'll do
Open forum?
that. Okay, so we have a motion to approve consent agenda item A through H.
So moved.
Trustee Harris, we have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Pickering. Any questions or comments? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll go into open forum, and we have no open forum, so we're going on into the next thing. Number 9, request consider approval of nominating a candidate for a position on the Board of Directors for the Brazoria County Appraisal District.
So Board, Mr. Tommy King has served as our Alvin ISD representative since 2015. And prior to adopting a resolution, the name of a nominee must be submitted. Alvin ISD would like to nominate Mr. King for this position, and he's expressed his willingness to serve.
Do we have a motion to approve nominating Mr. Tommy King as candidate to serve on the Board of Directors for Brazoria County Appraisal District?
So moved.
One by Trustee Scheible. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Pickering. I'm sorry, Winterstrom, I'm sorry. Any questions or comments? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Next, we have request to review and consider approval of and purpose. Let me get this again. Request to review and consider approval, purpose, and principles for the School Boundary Advisory Committee for the Alvin ISD attendance zones.
So Board, we're asking that you consider a School Boundary Advisory Committee. The purpose of this committee would be to revise and optimize our school facility usage and to accommodate growth patterns throughout our district, especially after seeing the presentation by Templeton. The SBAC will develop attendance boundary recommendations for both secondary and elementary schools to be approved by Alvin ISD Board of Trustees, and the dates would be adjusted due to the calendar and some conflicts we had. We would be getting you updated dates for those meetings.
We have a motion to approve the purpose and principles for the School Boundary Advisory Committee for Alvin ISD attendance zone so that the SBAC may begin work.
So moved.
Have a motion by Trustee Tonini. Do we have a second?
Second.
Who did the second? Second by Trustee Harris. Any questions or comments? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Board.
Next, we'll go to request to consider approval of FFAC local policy revisions.
This policy is a local policy to update, to stock our EpiPens or epinephrine for our schools for emergency purposes. A physician has to sign a prescription for us to stock it for our school district, and we have a company who has provided these injectors free of charge. We have authorized and trained individuals on each campus that may administer an unassigned epinephrine auto-injector at any time to a person who's experiencing anaphylaxis on a school campus. We have admin regs in place, and we designate a coordinator to manage the policy implementation and address annual training of school personnel. The district will provide notice to parents regarding the epinephrine program, including notice of any change to or discontinuation of the program.
Do we have a motion, approval be granted for FFAC local policy revision as requested? We have a motion by trustee Winterstrom. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by trustee Scheibel. Any questions or comments? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Next, we have approval of employment.
So board, these are teachers that either we've needed additional due to staffing ratios or to fill current openings.
We have a motion to approve be granted for requested personnel items as presented.
So moved.
Have a motion by trustee Tonini.
Second.
Have a second by trustee Pickering. Any questions or comments? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Next, we have, does anybody have any future agenda items they want to put on the schedule? All right, in that case, then I make a motion to adjourn. We have a second.
Second.
Have a second by trustee Winterstrom. All in favor? All opposed? We are adjourned. Thank y'all very much.